You fuck. Oh, you fuck. Get him. Airball, you fuck. The fucking airball. You said it right, Marv. Fucking airball. You fuck.
Now you take your big three and you stuff it right the fuck up your ass, you big three. You ruined the NBA, you fuck. Motherfucker. You ruined the NBA, you fuck you.
Welcome to Playoff Central Live, presented by State Farm. Chris Miles here with NBA Coach of the Year Sam Mitchell and also the Hall of Famer Isiah Thomas. And with that, Isiah, what did you think of the guys not named Giannis, not named KD in this particular Game 7?
I thought Milwaukee was brilliant, just in terms of finding the weak defenders at the end of the game. And what I mean by the weak defenders, when you talk about, Griffin and you talk about, Harden, those two having injuries, those two playing a lot of minutes. And as you see at the end of the game, they put those two in a lot of pick and roll activity, forcing Durant to have to rotate, Giannis in front of the basket. And I thought from a coaching standpoint, Bud did a great job just in terms of managing the game down the stretch, in terms of getting some of his role players matched up with some of the fatigued, injured Brooklyn players. And on the other side, I just felt that Brooklyn really it just boiled down to, Kevin Durant going one-on-one as best he can. And I didn't see Brooklyn run any type of scheme or anything else to really take advantage of some of the personnel that they had out on the floor. Durant was heroic. He did everything he possibly could to be a one-man show. But I thought Milwaukee, as Giannis said, they came collectively together as a team to win the basketball game, and they beat the individual.
Kevin Durant, 48 points in the Game 7, the most ever by a player in the Game 7 in NBA history. So, Sam, some of the things that Isiah was saying there down the stretch, late game execution, can you take us through some of those plays? Well, there we have it. Giannis also 1 point shy of his playoff career high with 40. And these are the only players in NBA history to both score 40 in a Game 7. It's a short list. LeBron James and Paul Pierce, Sam Jones, Oscar Robertson back in 1963. And tonight, Kevin Durant and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Let's hear from Steve Nash, and maybe he'll address some of those late game plays in execution or lack thereof.
I just told them how proud I am of them. Just an unbelievable effort. Gave us everything they had, so much adversity this year, first year together, so many changes to the roster and so many injuries, COVID protocols. They couldn't have given us anything more. They couldn't have given us, to take that team, without Kai and James on one leg out there, doing anything he can to help his teammates. It's just, and you go down the line. What BG gave us, Kevin's just, I don't know what more Kevin could do. It's just out of this world. And you can say that for all our guys at a different part of the season, gave us something, and just really, really proud of the group. And I hurt for them more than anything.
Bruce Beck, NBC New York.
Steve, did you ever think you'd be talking to us and not talking about an NBA championship following your last game of the season?
I knew it was possible, especially with all the stuff we faced. I mean, you're missing Kyrie and James is on one leg. It's you have to understand it's not the same. And so, I still thought we could win it. And clearly I think we proved tonight that we could. Game could have gone either way. And so you always know there's a chance. Anything could happen, and I think we just faced one too many obstacles this year, and because our guys gave everything they had.
Greg Logan with Newsday.
Steve, on the final shot of regulation by Kevin, did you have a chance to look at the replay at all with the refs? How close was it to a three-pointer?
I haven't seen it. Sorry.
Alex Schiffer, The Athletic.
Hey, Steve, you had a lot of guys playing heavy minutes in overtime. I'm just curious how much you thought fatigue maybe caught up with you guys down the end versus maybe something else.
Yeah, for sure, fatigue played a part. I mean, we didn't have a lot of buttons to push at the end in this series for the most part. So, we were this close, and if they didn't play that many minutes, we probably wouldn't have been this close. So it's just one of those difficult things. And they gave us, like I said, they gave us everything, and we had a chance to win. So that's all you can ask for, and just so proud of these guys.
Tom Dowd with BrooklynNets.com.
Hey, Steve, you went with Bruce tonight. I wonder if you can just describe, his defensive effort on Milton.
I mean, Bruce is a winner. We love him, and he fights. He's tireless, great defensively, and just great performance by him all season long. And we needed him tonight, and he was great.
Ian Begley, SNY.
Steve, you guys finished 0-6 after you were up 111, 109. Was there anything there aside from the fatigue that you saw that was missing?
I mean, I think we had some fatigue for sure, but we also missed a couple looks, and we missed a couple open looks, and then didn't make some really difficult ones, and they made theirs. It's there's nothing in it. It's a 2-point game, and you miss one or two shots, and it hurts. But obviously, it was a really well contested by both sides. It was a war, down the stretch and in overtime. Very difficult to find baskets, and just couldn't get it done. But, at that point in the game, when guys are fatigued and you're at the end of 7 games plus an overtime, it's a flip of a coin.
Christian Winfield with the New York Daily News.
Hey, Coach, obviously a tough result here tonight. Just wondering how guys are handling it in the locker room right now. Are guys kind of the same upbeat as you in terms of, hey, we gave it everything we got and we had injuries, or were guys more so really upset because they felt they could take this one?
I think they're upset. They know they could have won the series. I think they also do realize deep down that they gave it everything they had. And so it's not total, despondence. It hurts. It hurts bad. It hurts all of us. I hurt so much for these guys, for everything they gave us. But they also realize that they gave it everything they had.
Back to Greg Logan.
Steve, when you look back on, I know it's too soon, it's too early, but when you look back on this season, what do you think this type of effort at the end of such a crazy season will do to galvanize this bunch going forward?
Yeah, I think we have guys that are extremely motivated, passionate about what they do, are unselfish, willing to sacrifice, and have a lot of character. And so, I think they will regroup and they'll be ready to go again. So it's been a really difficult year. We've had a lot thrown at us, and they've survived it in incredible fashion. And they'll get themselves ready to go again next year.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate everything.
Thanks so much, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
For everything.
Thanks, Steve.
Kevin Durant, a playoff career high, 2 points shy of that, but a Game 7 high of 48.
That shit gonna sting for a second. But the beauty of our profession is we get up and keep going. Everybody on this team works extremely hard. They care about the game. So we get ready for next year.
Brian Lewis with the New York Post.
Hey, Kevin, I'm curious. You guys were logging a lot of minutes to stay in this game and put yourselves in position to win. How much do you think that workload played a role in, I think, 1 of 12 in shooting in overtime? Is that a matter of fatigue or something else other than that?
You got to give credit to the team who got a good chance to win a championship. The story should be about them and how well they played this series, how well they played all year. We got good looks there in overtime. We just didn't knock them down. But respect to the Milwaukee Bucks and how they prepare, how they challenged us all series and made adjustments all series. We got nothing but respect for this ball club.
Bruce Beck, NBC New York.
Kevin, you gave everything you could in this series. You put this team on your back. Does any of that temper the hurt that you feel right now?
Not at all. Who cares?
Alex Schiffer, The Athletic.
Hey, Kevin, you got a lot of big baskets from Blake and Bruce. If you could just kind of speak to what you saw from both of them tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they made shots for us when we needed it. They got us off to a good start. I had so much fun playing with Blake and Bruce. They make the game so much easier for everybody. They, physical presence, and Bruce being a 6'3" guard, 6'4" guard, mixing it up in a paint like that. Blake coming off so many injuries and giving us his all, starting for us at the center in the playoffs. I got nothing but respect for those guys, and it's a joy and an honor to take the court with them every day.
And if I could just follow up, I mean, with such a crazy season like this, how quickly does your mind shift to next season, or do you give yourself a break after the wild, however many months it's been with all this?
I don't even know. I wasn't even planning on losing, you know what I'm saying? So I don't even know how I'm going to feel. I'm always thinking about our team and how we can get better and what we could do individually, and just wait for I don't know, take a few days off, and I don't know, man. Shit, I don't know.
Greg Logan with Newsday.
Kevin, Steve commented after the game about the sacrifice that everybody made and the character they showed. When you look over this season, what will stand out about it to you, as you look over all the adversity that you faced?
I mean, every team went through adversity this year, and I respect the whole league for how they just, every player in the league going through COVID protocols, every guy that's been injured, who played in the bubble and came back for a quick turnaround. Guys have been in and out the lineup throughout the whole league all year, and we still put a show on for the fans. I'm just proud of the league in general, and especially our team, because I'm in there every day. But I'm sure other teams have been through the same stuff that we've been through throughout the year. So I'm just proud as a league that we got guys that come out there and play great basketball every night. We put a show on for the fans in the playoffs, every team. So, it's one of those things where we dealt with this season, and we took it head on, and everybody just were professionals the whole year.
Christian Winfield with the New York Daily News.
Hey, Kevin. I know you guys like to say next man up, but, how much does not having Kyrie and then not also having a healthy James dictate what you guys are able to do out there on the floor?
Oh man, I can't even speak about how much we missed Kyrie out on the floor and how much we missed James to start the series. And seeing him, I could go for 40 minutes on both of those two, on how much they care about us and how much they put their bodies on the line to help us out as a team. Kyrie had a gruesome ankle injury, and he was thinking about, when could he play next, and that shows that he cares about us so much. James, playing on one leg, came out there and gave it his all. 48 minutes in Game 5, 40 last game, and then 50 tonight. There's nothing but respect and love for those two guys. We missed them out there, but we still had a chance to win.
Back to Brian Lewis.
Hey, Kevin, a lot of contenders like Milwaukee, like Philadelphia, had a cohesion edge because they were running it back. I'm curious, whatever you guys are feeling now, whatever pain you guys are feeling now, is that going to be something that's going to be able to fuel you next year when your guys are running it back?
I mean, I think every guy's fueled by they bring their own juice every day. I mean, of course the loss is going to be tough, but we got a few more months until next season, and then we got a whole year until the next playoff. So, I mean, we're going to be thinking about this, next few weeks. But as we go into the next season, as we start to get into the thick of the next season, we got to turn the page, and guys got to continue to keep getting better individually. I know continuity is a huge thing in our league because GMs, owners, they move players all the time. But for us, we try to, get with each other this summer, keep grinding, and come back next year.
Ian O'Connor with the New York Post.
Kevin, that final play of regulation, can you describe making that shot? Did you think it was a three-pointer when it left? And is that really even in defeat, the most memorable shot of your career?
Not at all. Not even close to the most memorable shot. I thought it was a Tracy, but my big ass foot was a step on the line. I was just seeing a little screenshot how close I was to ending their season off that shot, but it wasn't in God's plan. Hey, we move on. So it was a solid shot, but I hit way bigger shots than that.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
So, Sam, Kevin Durant played those 53 minutes. He also played 48 minutes earlier in the series. We've talked about it. Obviously, he looked tired on that last play. Are you surprised that they didn't call a timeout to maybe get him a breather before that final shot?
Yeah, Chris, because in today's NBA, coaches don't want to call. Look, everybody in the arena knew Kevin Durant was going to get the ball, but everyone also knew that last possession Kevin Durant was going to have the ball. So call a timeout, if nothing else, just so he can get a blow, get his legs up on there, get his mind right, and then draw up something, because all you have to do is bring him to the ball, flatten everyone down, and let him do what Kevin Durant does.
Sam,
definitely.
Go ahead, Isiah. I was going to ask you about that.
No, I agree. I agree with Sam. Definitely, in that situation, you call a timeout, especially since you've made a big defensive stop. You give your team a rest, and you give Durant a rest. And and throughout the game, you look at this and, Brooklyn had 0 points off the bench in an overtime game. And that's almost impossible to do. So you got to find a way to get your players some rest throughout the game. And I just thought, from a management standpoint, a time management standpoint, that Brooklyn could have did a much better job, but they didn't. And Kevin Durant was just unbelievably good tonight. Just, can't say enough great things about him. And I agree with Giannis. He is the best player in the world right now.
Without doubt. And Zeke, when you think about it, look at the coaching staff, Steve, the coaches on his bench, Mike D'Antoni, Jacques Vaughn. He got guys that have had head coaching experience. Somebody should have been screaming to him, hey, we need to take a timeout. They're exhausted. I mean, and I know the thought, Steve is thinking, okay, why give Milwaukee a chance to get some rest and to set their defense? But at that point, it's not about them. It's about you, and your best player, the guy that you got to get the ball to, is running on fumes. Call a timeout, give him a chance to catch his breath, ask him where he wants to. Do you want to go for the 3 or do you want to go for the tie? Coach, I want to go for the 3. I'm exhausted. Then you draw up a play to give him a chance with Harden as a secondary option to give yourself a chance to win this basketball game. And I think being a first-year coach, I think Steve Nash is going to think back on this moment, seeing how tired Kevin Durant was, and then looking at the quality or not so quality shot that Durant took a shot of air ball. So again, he was exhausted. I think looking back, Steve Nash would have liked to have that play over to call a timeout.
48 points for Kevin Durant. Remember, no Kyrie. 9 rebounds, 9 assists. It's the most points he scored in the series. Obviously, he was battling that hamstring.
Game 1, up until Game 5, that was the first time that I did any basketball competition against anybody. So I was just literally going out there on a limb. And, obviously we got days in between games. So I didn't really have an opportunity to kind of test it other than the games. So I was just going out there and trying to give everything I can, and it's frustrating. I'm just overall, I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's just, we gave it everything we had. Just having to deal with injuries throughout the course of the year, set us back. Whether it's Kevin twice, myself twice, Kai in the postseason, it's just over. It's draining, and it's very, very difficult to fight through that. When basically the 3 best players are in and out of the lineups. So we just got to take care of our bodies and be ready to go for next one.
Malika Andrews, ESPN.
I'm just wondering, James, guys like Blake Griffin or Bruce Brett, there's a lot of players on this team that what their future is with the group could be up in the air. I'm wondering how you reflect on playing with them and what they've brought to this team this season.
Every guy, man, from top to bottom on his roster, brought something to this team every single day. It was a joy to come in and be around these guys, from top to bottom. So honestly, this same team is great, Obviously, it's a business and things happen and money gets involved or whatnot. But from top to bottom, these guys are, whatever the situation was, whatever the circumstance was, whether it's injuries, whether it's whatever the case was, guys are ready and prepared to go out there and play minutes in the regular season and the postseason. And that's all you can ask for, honestly, from a great team. So proud of each and every one of these guys. And like I said, we just came up a little short. So we just got to get our minds right and keep getting better for next year.
Alex Schiffer, The Athletic.
Hey, James, I got 2 for you. Just how much do you think fatigue maybe caught up with you guys in overtime when I think it was 0 for 6 after that 111-109 lead? Or was it maybe something else that they did to slow you guys down offensively?
I mean, at that point, everybody's fatigued. Obviously, and then we leaned on Kevin a lot to do most of the playmaking, which was another frustrating thing because that's, kind of my job. And so we leaned on Kevin obviously a lot more than usual, and he gave it everything. He did everything he could or potentially could, whether it's making the plays or scoring the basketball. So, everybody's tired at that point. Overtime game 7. We just didn't make, 1 or 2 more shots.
And then your vantage point on that game tying two here at the end of regulation. Did you think that was a three?
Nah, I mean, I didn't see.
Christian Winfield with the New York Daily News.
Hey James, I asked Kevin the same question, but when Kyrie goes down with what looked like a pretty severe ankle sprain, just how much does that change what you guys want to do on offense? And on top of that, just what was the feeling after he goes down, given how big of a role he plays on this team?
I mean, he's a huge part of what we're doing and what we're trying to do. As far as his leadership, his ability on the court, just everything. From all our guys, like if one of our guys are out, it's frustrating. It's tough. I mean, some other guys got to step up and carry more load. In this scenario, it was myself and Kai that was out. So basically we just put too much stress on Kevin, and then it was just too much stress on everybody. And I mean, myself and Kai out. I mean, it's difficult. It's difficult.
Last question, Brian Lewis with the Post.
Hey, James. Following up on your earlier comments, I'm curious. This was obviously a team where you guys went all in with a clear goal of winning a championship. Going out in the second round, I mean, do you give any thought at all to whether this team will stay together and look like this come next season?
I mean, we're all of course. Of course, we try to improve every single year. That's the goal. We never want to stay the same. So we try to improve. We try to get better and keep getting better. That's all. That's all you can ask for. I mean, if we're not injured and me and Kai are on the floor, it's a totally different conversation. But we can't talk about that because that wasn't the case. So it's a part of basketball. You just got to try to stay healthy, and then I'm sure our front office and the top guys will try to just bring in more players around. Me, Katie, and Kai, and just continue to improve. That's all you can do.
Thank you, James.
Thank you, James.
Should have called the timeout, given them the blow, and then set them up for a better opportunity to either win it or go to overtime.
When I look at this graphic of the Nets season, second round out in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference, missed as in games, Isiah. I think that's the story with this first season of Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving.
Well, as we talked about earlier, with them missing so much time and not having an opportunity to play together, we all wondered if they would be able to come together during the playoffs and find rhythm and also find consistency. As we seen when it got down to crunch time, they hadn't played together, so their execution was very poor at the end of the game. And that should be expected because they didn't play together. They had no time to really play together.
Yes, 7 games played together in the regular season. I believe it's just 13 games total.
Yeah.
With Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. So looking forward, Sam, see some of the free agents, Spencer Dinwiddie, who, he was hurt this year as well. Blake Griffin, a free agent, Jeff Green. You bring those guys back and try to run it back with the same team, or do you try to get younger?
Well, look, I think some of those guys, they got to seriously consider. I like Brown. He was on that list as a free agent because he's the type of guy that can play different spots and guard multiple positions. But they got to look at the team. They got to bring guys in, one, that can stay healthy. All right, and two, they got to bring in some role players that understand their role. Look, the biggest disappointment for me in this series, when they look back at the totality of everything, you got to look at Joe Harris, the way he did not shoot the ball well. I mean, he was signed to a big contract to knock down threes. He did it during the regular season, but come playoff time, that's when you have to step up. So I don't think it's about adding free agents. I think it's about getting these guys some time to play together. We realize this team has a possibility of being an excellent defensive team. We saw that in the playoffs. So for all the talk about Brooklyn not being able to play defense, they've dispelled that rumor. So I just think time, heal up, look at this roster. They do need to get a little bit younger, but they got to find guys that can play because during the regular season, you don't want to play Kyrie, James, and Kevin Durant 40-plus minutes every night.
Sam, I'm gonna say that you had 0 points off the bench tonight in the Game 7, so you got to play more people.
Yeah, you got to play them, man. The guys on the roster getting paid, got to use them.
You can't find Benny Johnson if he's not playing, Isiah.
listen to me, 0 points in the overtime game off the bench.
Well, Giannis didn't have any struggles scoring in this series or in this game. He had 40. He's at the podium now.
Little hook shot you hit on Durant with about a minute left in overtime.
Was able to get in my spot. And I love the hook shot. And I was able to get to the spot and just get a hook.
For you in this game, obviously, you have a huge minutes load. You get to do a little bit of everything. Out of halftime, you guys switched the defensive matchups so that you could kind of be the guy that gets a switch onto Harden, gets a switch on Durant, and kind of do that. Just what did you think of that adjustment, and what did you think of the opportunity to get to do that?
Great adjustment. We realized that I was always away from the ball on the reds and the switches. So I think great adjustment by coach. Out of the halftime, told me to switch the matchup, so I can be the guy that switch on KD, James, and whoever has the ball. As I said, last game, we just want to make them play one-on-one basketball, try to keep them in front, try to make them hit tough shots, and after if they make a shot, do not get discouraged. Keep guarding them. Keep making it tough for them, and I think coming out of the second half, we were able to keep them in front. It wasn't having a lot of feel-good plays, that everybody touched the ball. When the ball moves, when you switch and you hit the guy in the pocket, and the guy from the pocket hit the guy in the corner, and the guy from the corner hit the guy on the wing, and the guy driving. They didn't have plays like that, so we were doing our job. We were allowing them to play deep into the clock. That we wanted them to take tough shots with 4 seconds left, 5 seconds left, 3 seconds left, 6 seconds left. So it was great adjustment by coach.
I'm curious, what did it feel like for you to write 8 on the board tonight? Just being able to beat this Nets team and advance to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Man, it's a great feeling. And at the end of the day, I try not to, get too high, not to get too low. But I almost got emotional a little bit out there, because the team really tried their best, and we kept our composure. We were down to 0. A lot of people didn't believe that we could make it. We went back home and we protect, home with our unbelievable fans, and just being able to come to New York, and we've already come here 5 times in the last 5 games. We were 0 for 5, so just coming to New York again, game 7, and everybody's anxious, everybody's nervous, and be able to execute, believe in one another, trust one another. It was big time, and I'm really happy for this team. I'm really happy for what we got done. Really happy that we were able to write 8 on the board, but the job is not done. We got to keep believing in ourselves. We got to keep playing good basketball, and take it game by game. The job is not done. We halfway through. So yeah, that's it.
What do you think of Drew being able to step up in that big spot? I know he struggled with his shot in the first 3 quarters, 4 quarters, and then late in the game he just took big shots.
That's what he does. That's what he does. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you knock down shots, don't make shot, miss shot. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, if you can keep your composure and stay within the game and keep making the right play, eventually it's gonna fall. Eventually you're gonna make the right pass. You're gonna take the right shots. You're gonna make some shots, and that's what I think what he did. And he was able to give us a big boost at the end.
Jim Ozarski. Along those lines, Giannis, is that an illustration, I guess, of what you meant the other night when you said we're built for this? The way I think Drew 3 of 5 in the 4th, Chris 4 of 7. Their nights where they struggled till then. Chris hits the game winner. Their defensive stops late. Brooke even the block after what happened at the end of regulation. Is that the kind of thing you're talking about there when you say you're built for it? Just sort of that. Not the physical ability, but sort of that mental toughness too.
Yeah. When did I say that? I said that in the media?
After game 6, yes.
I said in the media, so I can take it back. Okay. So what I meant by that is that we've all worked extremely hard to be in this moment, and I'm not talking about basketball. I'm talking about life, and just being able to be in a position on the road, Game 7, like you watch this growing up on TV and see like the all-time greats going head-to-head in Game 7, and getting big wins. So no matter what, you lose the game. But at the end of the day, we worked extremely hard our whole life for this moment, right? So I wanted everybody to live up this moment, to feel this moment, to cherish this moment, because we are built for this. That's why we are here. No matter the pressure, no matter what's going on, we are built for this, right? So we believe in who we are. No matter what happens, win or lose, we're gonna stay together, and we're just gonna go out there and compete.
As someone who's also built, Kevin Durant, I mean, that shot, what did you see from your vantage point on that shot, on touch defense, and kind of what was the regroup like going into overtime? You know what I mean? After a play. Big shot.
And that's KD. He makes shots like that. Unfortunately, I didn't want to see the ball go in, but the ball went in. So we went to overtime, but we were able to keep our composure. Like we scored 2 baskets in overtime until the Brook hit the free throws. I'm not sure if I think I'm right. So we were able to keep our composure, on the road and play good basketball, get good shots. We get some wide open threes, did not fall, but we were able to keep executing the right way and keep defending. We know that the ball was going to go to KD, at the end. So, as I said, we kept our composure, played good basketball. We were able to get the win.
And ball attempts. Giannis, you mentioned you got emotional at the end of the game for the effort.
I almost got emotional.
Almost got emotional.
Yes.
Obviously, it was a pretty hard-fought series all the way through. What did it mean to you to be able to, like you said, be able to come back, not only come back in the fourth quarter, but then come back after that Durant shot, and even after the start of overtime when they hit, they get the offensive rebound and the putback, and for your team to kind of, fight back and come up with that victory on the road in pretty adverse circumstances?
It's big, it's big. We really wanted this as a team. We really wanted this as a team, and there was like a lot of ups and downs within the series. There was a lot of ups and downs in this game. We could finish the game in the before the overtime. And I wasn't able to, but we kept our composure, and that's what I'm talking about. That I almost got emotional because everybody fought extremely hard. The coach Bud coached hard. The coaching staff were in the game. Our bench was in the game. The guys that was out there in the floor, they gave everything. They defend hard. They ran plays hard. So we really wanted this, and as I said, we've been here in New York 5 times this year, and we lost all 5. So we were able to get this one. We got the right one. So that's why I almost got emotional. But at the end of the day, job's not done. The job is not done. So that's the message here. That's the message in the locker room. We got to keeping our head within the game. We can't get too high, get too low. We didn't win the championship, but it's a great step for our organization. It's a great step for us that we're out there, we're fighting. So we got to enjoy this moment. But once we realize who is the next opponent, we got to put this in the past and focus on the moment and focus on our next opponent.
You said before the playoffs that you weren't sure if your team was going to have a different outcome this year, but that the results would eventually speak for themselves. Do you think that this series and this Game 7 is, proof that you guys did come into these playoffs a different team than you've been in the past, or is that still not the case yet?
I don't know, Tim. I cannot focus in the future. I don't know what the outcome is going to be. The outcome might be bad, good, who knows? I can't predict the future, but at the end of the day, what I know is that we're going to do the right thing, we're gonna play good basketball. We're gonna compete, and we're gonna enjoy the game. Now, if the outcome is bad, the outcome is bad. But hopefully, the outcomes can be good at the end.
And after that first half, you came out and scored 20 points in the third quarter. Did you particularly try to set a tone after you guys were in the game, obviously at halftime, but had some struggles getting going offensively?
No, I was just trying to enjoy the game. I think I was a little bit too anxious, so I was just trying to enjoy the game and just make the right play, find my teammates, get downhill, get to my spot, just enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy this moment, because at the end of the day, Game 7, you're never going to have the same moment twice.
All right, great. Thanks, Giannis.
One thing, I want to thank the Greek fans that showed up tonight. There were almost 1,000 people that came out to support the team. I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart. They helped us a lot. And also want to congratulate the Brooklyn Nets for a great series. Thank you, guys.
Here for Pat Connaughton. Blake Griffin, 17 points, 11 rebounds in the overtime Game 7 loss.
And the future with Brooklyn.
Oh, I mean, I'm still happy with my decision. I mean, this was obviously a tough loss, and not where we expected to be, but injuries are a part of the game. Things happen. Being without James for 4 games and then having him sort of like on one leg, having Kai go out on a messed up situation, and then these guys fighting the way they fought. Kevin, doing what he does, but all, 1 through however many played, just proud of these guys and how hard they fought. And as far as the future, the game ended an hour ago, so have not even thought about that.
Alex Schiffer, The Athletic.
Hey, Blake, just kind of touching this a little bit, but James told us he had a grade 2 hamstring strain, which obviously takes a while to come back from. Can you just kind of speak to what he was able to give you guys, especially getting better game over game, given how limited he was and what he was playing through?
Yeah, I mean, that's it's hard to describe what the mental fortitude and obviously physically, he's not 100%, but mentally, I mean, to go out and have to sort of protect yourself, but also give yourself to the team. I couldn't ask for a bigger sacrifice from a guy. He came out when we needed him, and obviously wasn't himself, but helped us a lot.
Tom Ballard, BrooklynNets.com.
Hey, Blake, just looking at kind of, the minutes Bruce played on Middleton and you kind of matching minutes with Giannis, how much of a grinded out defensive mindset that the two of you kind of bring to try and set the tone tonight?
Yeah, I mean, that's, that was our assignment. And, I wish I could have done a better job, or, a couple of those foul calls go the other way, and could have matched his minutes a little bit better. But Bruce does a phenomenal job. I mean, he's played every position in the book. He's guarded guys 6 inches taller than him. Guarded some of the best offensive players for the other team. He just has that mindset. So when he's out there fighting like that, we kind of have no choice but to join him.
Christian Winfield with the New York Daily News.
Hey Blake, 2 quick ones for you. One, just what's it like for you guys to play with James when he's kind of at half speed? Because he's obviously not playing full speed because of his hamstring. And then second, given that James was rehabbing from a hamstring, how much of a gut punch was Kyrie's injury when it happened?
Yeah, I mean, not having James, like I said earlier, and then Kai going down. I don't care what anybody says. Nobody would have had us winning this series. So people can say whatever they want now, but James having to play on one leg is It's tough. I mean, it changes, how he plays. Like I said, I mean, it doesn't matter for us. I mean, we try to do our best to sort of help him. I just feel bad for him. I mean, he's one of those guys that absolutely loves hooping, and to not be able to play at how he wants to at this level, has to hurt.
Obviously I'm disappointed. I wish that I played better. I think there's a lot of things where you can go back, be a tough critic on yourself, judgmental, but at the same time, I mean, you got to bring more to the table than just one thing. Overall, yeah, I wish I would have shot more efficiently. Help alleviate some of the pressure that other guys were facing. But this is sort of the situation that we're in, and frankly, had I played better, we probably might be in a little bit of a different spot. So it's definitely going to be a motivating factor for me in this offseason going forward, just because, like a lot of us were just talking about in the locker room, this thing is far from over for us.
Drew Holiday, 13 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, 5 for 23 from the field, but some crucial shots down the stretch, including that defense on Kevin Durant in overtime.
It's right on line, so that's scary. But as it ended up short, man, I think we did a good job of tiring him out. He had a hell of a game, one of the best scorers and players in this league, but to play for that many minutes and to have Tuck and K-Mid and Giannis just all over him the whole game, and Brook protecting the basket, just think it kind of tired him out in that last shot. Pressured him as much as possible to try not to get a clear shot, and it ended up being short.
I think you started the game 2 for 17. I'm not exactly sure on that number, but you just
Something
struggling.
Like Something like that.
For you to get through it and to come up in that just big down the stretch, what did you have in your mind that, hey, I still got to take these shots, I got to step into it confidently, and I just got to be me?
That's it. I've been in this league long enough to know that sometimes you're going to hit them and sometimes you're not. Sometimes the game's not going to go your way, but you can't be timid, especially in a Game 7 where I'm given the opportunity to come out here and knock these shots down and take these shots. I feel like my teammates trusted me to take those shots and knock them down. So you really just have to be confident in it and just know, man, they're going to fall. You keep on doing the right things when you play. They're going to end up falling.
What do you think of Giannis's effort tonight? 40 points, I think 50-some minutes, and really, I mean, he's going through contact on just about any time he goes to the rim.
That's why he's our best player. That's why he's our.
And moving on now, it's the Eastern Conference Finals. You played for an NBA final. I don't know how long you allow yourself to.
Chris Middleton, 23 points, 10 and 6, 9 for 26 from the field. Also, hit some crucial buckets down the stretch.
But then their coverage, it's a tough coverage to try to score out and make a play out of. It's like a cat and mouse game pretty much. Katie was waiting for him at the rim. Giannis was a little bit behind me, behind the row. So just try to bait Bruce to get in front of me just a little bit where I can enough room to turn around and get to a shot that, can get to.
Giannis had said that after Game 6 that you guys were built for these games, these moments, and he's like, it's not a physical thing. It's sort of all the mental toughness and I guess, was that a good example of that for you and Drew and Brooke, where maybe the game didn't start or there was some turnovers, but late, shots were being made, the right play was made, and it went in your favor?
Definitely. I mean, they made a couple plays where, you would think they were going to win the game, but we stayed with it. We were down majority of the game. We were down late in the fourth quarter, but, we stayed with it. We stayed resilient. We made, plays down the stretch. We got the stops that we needed to. We broke in a huge block at the rim for us. But it's all about just staying with it and just playing as hard as we can and being solid.
How difficult was that, though, to recollect, I guess, when Kevin hit that shot to send it to overtime? So what was your vantage point, of course, of that play and then that sort of brief period before the OT started?
Nah, yeah, when I seen that shot go, I said I seen it before against me. But a couple of us said, we got lucky. His toe was on the line to call it a 2. But once he hits that shot, we got to forget about it. It's still ball game left. That wasn't a game. Get ourselves back together, recollect it. We were able to do that in overtime.
Eric Name?
I believe he's in the room with you, but what did you think when you saw Brook losing his mind with 0.3 of a second left? That's the most animated I've ever seen Brook, when he was celebrating, going crazy. Or did you not see it?
I actually did not see it at all. So I'm sure I'll see it at some point here on the bus or on the plane. But I didn't get a chance to see it.
For you defensively, you see Tuck go out, and you know the responsibilities. You're going to have KD. What are you thinking in that overtime? I know you played 50-plus minutes, and I can't imagine your legs are feeling very fresh knowing that you're going to have that responsibility for the final 3 minutes.
Man, it's just a battle of will at that point. I think Tuck did a great job making everything tough for him. He used all the fouls that he could just to wear him down, make it tough for him. And then my job is to do the same thing. Put my pressure, go full court, just make it work a little bit. And then, from there, just trying to make everything a tough shot for him, just like Tuck does.
Mike Budenholzer with his first Game 7 win with the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, no, so much respect for the Brooklyn Nets, their players, all of them, from the top of the roster to the bottom. Coach Steve Nash, his staff, Sean Marks, the GM. A lot of great people, a lot of respect for them. Hell of a series. So, first question.
For you guys just late in the game, obviously, I think everyone hits a big shot. Giannis hits a post-up, a hook shot. Chris hits a big one. Drew hits a bunch of big ones late. Just what do you see from those three to be able to get to their spots, have the confidence, even though they might have struggled either from the free throw line or from the field earlier on in the game?
Yeah, those guys, they just, they're great competitors. I love the way they just keep coming, keep playing, find a way to win an overtime game on the road, Game 7. They all made big plays down the stretch, and we need them, every one of them.
For you, when you think of this game, I'm going to think of Brook Lopez at center court just losing his mind after you guys seal this thing. I'm curious for you, Brook has that big block down on the other end. Just what did you think of his ability to affect the game?
I thought he was great. I felt like he shot the ball well. He did a lot of things for us. 3 threes, everyone big. A couple finishes around the basket, screens. He just did a little bit of everything. He's a big part of who we are. The guys trust him. They know he's there. He's incredible protecting the paint and taking all that away. You got to live away from the basket. Lots of games while Brook is playing.
Can you take me through Durant's final 2 shots? I guess his final shot at the end of regulation and then his final shot at the end of overtime. Both times one-on-one coverage, one time PJ, one time Drew.
Yeah, no, I thought, really, really good individual defense both times. He's an incredible shot maker. And for us, just good to get that last stop, get that last miss, and win the game basically on a defensive stop.
For you, was that Brooks mix-up on the shot clock?
No, that's me. I gotta help him better. I gotta do better. I think fortunate to come out and get the win. But in some ways, I think all of us were more motivated to make sure we got it. But that's on me.
PJ Tucker fouled out, but had an impact in the game, guarding KD and making some threes, and Sam loves the chains.
I love the hat.
In Game 7, but that seemed like the longest game ever. It seemed like we just were playing for hours. It just seemed like we were just like a boxing match, like it just wasn't going to end.
Obviously, I know you're in the moment, but how did you see that last play of regulation play out? As you probably knew, as you've talked about, that was coming your way.
Yeah, that was honestly, I just wanted to make sure he didn't shoot a 3, and then when I cut him off, I thought he would 1 foot or step back when he spent, he threw me off, and that shot was incredible. Like, I don't think people really appreciate the level of difficulty of that shot. Like, I've never. It was incredible. And I laughed. I actually just laughed after he made it because it was incredible. So I actually appreciated being a fan of the game to see somebody make that kind of shot. Just you got to appreciate it. Even though it's on you, you got to appreciate it.
Well, knowing that, how did you watch Chris and then Drew take their turns at the end of? Yeah,
it was great because I knew what they were going to. They were going to just hand off the baton, man. They just going to do the same thing, try to pick them up, try to turn them, try to get them to speed up, and leave it all out there. And they both did. That's what they do. And that's the beauty of our team. We got so many guys that can guard and make it tough on people, and we just try to wear people down.
You said the other day that offense for you is definitely secondary. However, the way the game started for your teammates shooting-wise, all of your points and offense were needed. What was your thought and your mindset, I guess, early on? A couple drives to the rim and obviously some threes.
So that's the thing with Giannis. People are going to load up. They got to load up on him because nobody can really guard him one-on-one. So they had to paint. I mean, you could tell that was their game plan, to make him try to give it up.
How many passes he makes, like the wall's still going to be there. He knows it ain't going anywhere. What did you think of his ability to finish through it late in the game to get to his spots, even with all that contact?
That's the amazing thing. He still gets through the walls and still figures his way. Even making shots, people are going to be there. They're going to try to make other people beat him. But he still picks and chooses his spots, especially in transition when we can get stops and get him out in the open floor. It just opens everything else for everybody else. Offensive rebounds, open threes, for everybody. So it's definitely a key to us.
What do you think? I know I was talking to Giannis about it. The adjustment to put him on Bruce Brown, where he was getting the switch. He said, I was happy that I was going to be back in the action. Just what do you think of his ability to defend and kind of handle that?
Yeah, he did a good job. He stepped up and was able to, try to get guys back downhill, stay in front, contest shots. Being able to switch that to kind of eliminate people getting in the pocket. That's a big key for us, and to be able to switch our defenses up a little bit to give teams a different look when they make adjustments. I think that's key. We got so many, like I said, we got so many people that can defend. We can guard so many different ways. Pretty much any way you want, we can do it. So it's a big advantage of ours.
Speaking of that, Brook has a block that's unusual for him. He doesn't normally get that one coming across.
So the Bucks will face the winner of the Hawks in the 76ers series, and the Bucks won their series against the Hawks 2-1. They also swept Philly 3-0. So when we look at that, though, Ben Simmons didn't play in 2 or 3 of those matchups. Joel Embiid didn't play in 2 or 3 of those matchups. Zeke, let's start with you on this one. Is there a matchup that's better for Milwaukee, or that they match up against better, the Hawks or the 76ers?
I think Milwaukee matches up better with any team that they're going to play, because right now they're coming into the series, whoever they're playing against, with extreme confidence, and one of the most dominant players who's playing right now in the East in terms of Giannis. The most difficult player to guard in the East, definitely right now, is Giannis. Downhill, playing around the basket. The way he's playing, Middleton's back and up to par. So I think Milwaukee's sitting in a very good position, and I think they're capable of beating any team that they play against right now.
I think if you're Milwaukee, if you had your choice, you'd rather see Atlanta for this reason. They're young, they're inexperienced, and then look at the injuries. DeAndre Hunter is out. Bogdanovich right now, he's a question mark with that knee. But if you look at Philadelphia, look at Joel Embiid, he caused another problem because you have Brook Lopez. You would think those two guys match up and you could play him even. But then you go back in years, Joel Embiid has done a good job of guarding Giannis. So I think if you're Milwaukee, to be honest, you would probably prefer to play Atlanta because they're young, inexperienced, never been in this position before. But you don't want to see Philadelphia. And throw the regular season records out. You saw that. Certain guys that was in the lineup, out the lineup. And what we've seen in the playoffs, in a 7-game series, after the first game or second game, when coaches start making adjustments, the series takes on a life of itself. So I just think you can't even compare the regular season records when you look at who Milwaukee can face between Philadelphia and Atlanta. It's going to come down to health. And right now, if you look at these teams, Milwaukee is the healthiest. Their three best players are still playing and relatively healthy. They got a huge advantage regardless of who they play in the next round.
Yeah, Chris Paul also ruled out for Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. So, Zeke, real quick, who has the best chance at winning the championship now? The Bucks advancing, beating the Nets, getting that off their back.
I still think it's a toss-up. You know, when you look at, you know, the four teams that are left playing, all of them are capable of beating each other. They all have solid coaches, great schemes, and you know, I don't think you can really pick one right now, Chris. I think it's going to be great to watch to see who really comes out and which cream really rises to the top.
Right now, if Kawhi Leonard wasn't hurt, I think the Clippers would be the overwhelming favorites. With him down right now, I just think you got to look at a team like Phoenix. You just got to look at them. Look,
even with Chris Paul being out for Game 1?
Yeah, because at some point he's going to come back, and you look at Kawhi. I mean, that was 2 years ago when they won a championship in Toronto. There was a lot of people that felt like at that time Kawhi Leonard was the best two-way player in the league, hands down, period. So without him, look, if the Clippers win the championship without Kawhi Leonard, it would be the greatest coaching job in my mind, in my era, that I've ever seen for a team. Even though you got Paul George the second banana. He's not Kawhi Leonard. So if they can go on and win the championship coming out the Western Conference, as tough as it's been this year, without Kawhi Leonard, I think Ty Lue, forget coach of the year, maybe coach of the decade the last 10, 20 years, because no one would expect that team to win a championship without Kawhi Leonard.
A lot of questions will be answered. We have 5 teams left. One will get eliminated tomorrow. Atlanta Hawks and the Philadelphia